Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Catch Up Sports Podcast. I hope you're all having a fantastic day. I'm your host, Moses, and welcome to the 6th ever episode of this podcast. This episode will be a NFL-centered podcast. If you didn't know, the NFL season has finally started. I'm so excited, but before I talk about the NFL, I just want to say that I just watched the 7th game of the Raptors-Celtics series. What a great game. What a great series. And congratulations to the Boston Celtics on advancing to the Eastern Conference Finals. So, what's ahead of us today? We're going to start with my playoff predictions and my Super Bowl prediction for the NFL season. And then we're going to talk about my takeaways from the opener, the Chiefs-Texans game, my own takeaways, and my weekly picks for the NFL. I'll be predicting every matchup this week. So I'm excited. Let's jump right into it. So as you know, the NFL season has finally started and prediction season is coming to an end. But it's coming to an end with my playoff bracket and my Super Bowl predictions. So here's my 2020 AFC and NFC playoff brackets. We'll start with the AFC. So the first seed is the Baltimore Ravens with a 13-3 record. And then my second seed is the 12-4 Kansas City Chiefs. My third seed is the Tennessee Titans, the 11-5 Tennessee Titans. My fourth seed is the 10-6 Buffalo Bills. And now let's move on to my wildcard teams. So my fifth seed is the Indianapolis Colts. My sixth seed is the Houston Texans. And my seventh seed is the Cleveland Browns, all of them finishing with a 10-6 record. My projected playoff matchups is going to be the Chiefs versus the Browns, 2nd versus 7th seed, the Titans versus the Texans, and the Bills versus the Colts. Now, let's move on to the NFC. So my first seed in the NFC is the Tampa Bay Buccaneers with a 13-3 record. My second seed is the 12-4 Seattle Seahawks. My third team is the 11-5 Minnesota Vikings. And the fourth seed is the 10-6 Philadelphia Eagles. And my wildcard teams are the fifth seed is the San Francisco 49ers with an 11-5 record. The sixth seed is the Packers with a 10-6 record. And my seventh seed is the New Orleans Saints with a 9-7 record. My projected matchups are going to be the Seahawks versus the Saints, Vikings versus Packers, a division matchup, and Eagles versus 49ers. Pretty exciting. Now, my Super Bowl prediction. So my Super Bowl prediction is going to be the Chiefs versus the Buccaneers. And it's interesting because if the Buccaneers make it to the Super Bowl, they will be the first team ever to host their own Super Bowl. I chose them, both of them, because, in my opinion, the talent and coaching on both teams is the best in their respective conferences. But I'm picking the Chiefs to repeat, run it back, and win the Super Bowl. They will be the first team to repeat since the 2004-2005 New England Patriots. Now let's shift to this. After a very long 7 months, the NFL is back with the opener of the Chiefs versus the Texans. They face each other Thursday night. The Chiefs beat the Texans 34-20, but the game was more of a blowout than a 14-point victory. Here are my takeaways from that game. My first take is about CEH, or in other words, Clyde Edwards-Helaire. The Chiefs' offense performed greatly against the Texans in the opener, but that's not surprising. But their new weapon made them even more better, even more deadly. First-round rookie running back out of LSU, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, or in short CEH, will give many defensive coordinators even more of a headache. CEH gives the Chiefs' offense an ability they couldn't do last year. Run the ball consistently and control the clock. Clyde had 25 carries for 138 yards and a touchdown on Thursday night. If Clyde continues with this great form he had in the opener, The Chiefs won't run the ball 20% of the time like they did last year. They'll run it maybe even more than 40%. This offense has the potential to be the best in NFL history. Only time will tell. Now, my second take is about the Texans offense. Was it limited or sloppy? The Texans had a bad night on Thursday, especially their offense. They didn't score since their second drive in the first quarter up until the final minutes of the game. In other words, garbage time. Why was the Texans offense so bad Thursday night? I think there are only two options. This is the first one. The Texans offense were sloppy. First game back, first game of the season, without a preseason, there's a chance they had been quite sloppy. Now, this is the second option. The worst one, in my opinion. The Texans don't have a go-to receiver. They don't have a physical receiver they can throw to for a momentum shift. When things are down, in many games when things are down, you go to your go-to man to shift the momentum, get that first down, get that big play. Since DeAndre Hopkins left, they don't have that type of guy. The Texans have surrounded Deshaun Watson only with speedy receivers. Brandon Cooks, Will Fuller, Kenny Stills, Kiki Cutie. One or two speedy receivers is great, in my opinion, but only having speedy guys to catch the ball is a bad idea. Who are you going to go to in the red zone? Who's going to win one-on-one balls? I don't know. The Texans need to find an answer. Now, my third and final take, it's more of a mini take. I want to give the Texans at least some credit. Running back David Johnson looked great Thursday night. And in my opinion, the Texans need to change their identity to succeed this season. They need to utilize their above-average running back core by running the ball down their opponents' throats. And then utilize play action and get your speedy receivers in the open. Like the 49ers played last year. Run the ball, run the ball, run the ball, and then play action to George Kittle. Or in other words, for the Texans, maybe Brandon Cooks. Now let's move to the final segment of this podcast, my weekly NFL picks. I'm currently 1-0 after predicting the Chiefs to win the opener on my Twitter at Moses Sakal, at MOSESSAKKAL. You can follow me. So link in the description. Now I'm 1-0. So let's start with Sunday's matchups. The Bills face the Jets. I'm just going to take the Buffalo Bills. It's also a home game at Buffalo, and Buffalo are just a better coached and more talented team. The Packers at the Vikings. Even though this game is in Minnesota, I'll take the Packers just because I trust Aaron Rodgers to get them out of this tough situation. I'm taking the Packers. Now, the Eagles at Washington, the Washington football team. And I'm not going to say a lot. I'm just going to pick the Eagles just because they're the better team. Browns at Ravens. This is a really interesting matchup. Seeing Kevin Stefanski's offense for the first time. But the Browns have a new head coach. And in COVID year, with no preseason, they're bound to be sloppy. And it doesn't help being sloppy against one of the best teams in the league, the Baltimore Ravens. I'll pick the Ravens in the opener. Colts at Jaguars. The Jaguars are clearly tanking, so I'll take the Colts. I think they're also a far superior team. And yeah, that's it. Raiders at Panthers. I'll take the Raiders, but don't count out Teddy Bridgewater and Christian McCaffrey. They'll put a great fight in this matchup. This might be the upset of the week. Bears at Lions. I'm just going to take the Lions because the game is in Detroit and Mitchell Trubisky is starting for the Bears at quarterback. Seahawks at Falcons. I'm going to take the Seahawks. In my opinion, the talent is equal between Seattle and Atlanta, but Seattle's coach is a lot better than Atlanta's coach. Patriots Dolphins. Dolphins at Patriots. I'm taking the upset. I'm taking the Miami Dolphins to beat the Cam Newton-led New England Patriots. I think the Dolphins' morale is sky high after the end of last season. And I think this momentum will continue to this season with a Week 1 win. Chargers at Bengals. Joe Burrow's first NFL start. I think he's bound to have rookie mistakes like interceptions, turnovers, sacks. And I like Tyrod Taylor, a safe quarterback. It's a pretty good situation for the Los Angeles Chargers. Cardinals at 49ers. If the game was in Arizona, I would have taken the Cardinals in this game. But just because it's in San Francisco at Levi Stadium, I'm going to pick the 49ers. But I think it's one of the best games of this week. Bucks at Saints. The marquee matchup of the week. Brady versus Breeze. I'll take New Orleans just because this game is played in the Superdome. But this will be a historic game. And I just can't believe that we're going to get Brady versus Breeze twice, and Brady versus Rodgers, and Brady versus Mahomes. And Breeze versus Mahomes. It's mad. It's unbelievable. What a great season is ahead of us. Now, the Cowboys at Sunday Night Football are facing the Rams in LA in the new stadium. I'm going to pick the Rams. There's a new head coach for the Cowboys. Means new schemes equals sloppiness in the first couple weeks, especially without a preseason. So I'll take the Rams in this one. Steelers at Giants, Monday Night Football. I don't think that Big Ben will come back the same after an elbow surgery. I think this is going to be the upset of the week. I have a gut feeling. I'm picking the Giants to beat the Steelers on the first header of Monday Night Football. The second header of Monday Night Football is the Titans at Broncos. I'm taking the Titans, even though it's at Denver. Derrick Henry, in my opinion, will dominate, especially after Von Miller won't be on the field. He injured his Achilles and he's out for the season. So, those are my predictions. What are your game predictions? Write them in the comments. I really want to know. And let's just talk sports in the chat. Let's grow this community. This is the end of the episode. Hope you all enjoyed this episode as I enjoyed writing it and recording it. For you to know, this podcast is also available on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and Soundcloud, so you can listen wherever you're most comfortable for you. Also, follow the podcast Instagram page at @CatchUpSportsPodcast and follow my Twitter. Link is in the description. You can send me a message. We can talk about anything, sports, life, whatever. Don't forget to subscribe to the YouTube channel of the podcast for additional podcast clips. And yeah, I'll see you guys next time. Let's go watch some football.